Yo, what's up gamers? It's your boy, and welcome to the Idaho Falls Zoo at Toffus Park. This was a bit of an impromptu zoo visit for me. Wasn't exactly in the plans, but this is the self-proclaimed best small zoo in the West. Of course, they can't claim to be the best zoo in the West because the San Diego Zoo exists, but we should be able to get some good inspiration from this regardless. So the first thing I wanted to point out here is the zoo, being a smaller zoo with a smaller animal collection, they have a lot of opportunities to be interactive with the guests. And the first thing that you do when you buy a ticket is they give you this little token, and then with this token you can go up to this board here and you can choose which charity of your choice that you want to support with your zoo ticket purchase. I chose the national park because it seemed the most interesting and fun. Another cool thing I found was this enrichment garden where they grow various herbs and berries or whatever for the animals to enjoy, which there was nothing growing in here at the time because it was still a little cold outside when I took this video. So the first section that we will be visiting is the Little Asia section, which it was either empty, as you can see in these aviaries here. I guess these are for birds. You can't really see in them because the reflection is so bad. But moving on from these guys, the first real habitat is this nicely themed enclosure for, I believe it was Reeves muntjac and demoiselle cranes, which you can't see either of them here. I did see the muntjacs a little bit later on, but it seemed like there were several animals that were off exhibit just because of the temperature wasn't the best at this point. But anyways, still a very, very nice little habitat. As you can see here, there's supposed to be a big water feature in the front, which is empty because, again, it was cold. And then getting into their next exhibits, there's a bunch of aviaries, and this is not a little Asian animal. It is a red-tailed hawk, which I can only assume is a rescue because red-tailed hawks are native. They're native to North America, and so that's a cool thing you can do in zoos if you want. You can throw in rescue animals from the area the zoo is in. And then our next animal is again a native animal, probably a rescue. It's a turkey vulture, very common pretty much anywhere you go. And there's a nice little bit of theming. It's sitting on I think that's a real cow skull, to be honest. And continuing our streak of native animals, we had a couple western painted turtles in a habitat which was almost certainly not made for them. There's only 2 turtles in here. This had to have been for something semi-aquatic, maybe like a crocodilian, I don't know, but these big walls around the sides, there's no way they made this for turtles, especially not native ones. But then we actually get some Asian species, some little ducks, magpies. There was supposed to be some tragopans in here, but those didn't show up. I think there was also some talk of bird flu in the area, which I don't know why they leave some birds out and not all the birds when there's bird flu. No idea. Moving right along from there were lots of free-roaming peafowls, or I guess I should say peacocks, because they were all males. And I'm assuming this was done to keep them from fighting over any females, and also because the males are the ones that have the cool, colorful feathers, and so the males are definitely gonna have more of an attraction to guests than the females. There was also this large pond which was supposedly full of lots of different kinds of waterfowl, but all there was some mallards and this single pelican, which was not listed on any of the information boards. Up next we have probably one of the best sections of the zoo, the Penguin Cove, which houses African penguins. First, when I walked up, I saw this little area here and I was like, is this supposed to be it? There's no penguins in here, and also it's tiny and the water's not full. But no, this is just their indoor area. They do have quite a spacious outdoor area, which was very nice. Plenty of walking space and plenty of water. There is no underwater viewing, but I mean, I'm 2 for 2 for seeing African penguins in zoos now that have water area, but they're not using it at all. So, you know, maybe it's realistic when animals don't use things in game the way we want to in Planet Zoo. I don't know. Right around the corner, there were some just cages for some macaws, which were not on display, again, because it was cold. Not the best looking, very just cagey, and you definitely want to avoid the cage look in a zoo. The next section is actually very relevant to Planet Zoo now. With the Barnyard Animal Pack coming out, we have our little farm section with chickens, you got some pigs, some donkeys, a yak, which unfortunately was not on display and may not even be alive because it said she had bone cancer, so very sad. Also some goats and some rabbits, which we unfortunately do not have rabbits in game still, but it's whatever. It's a farm section and it's nothing special. Moving on to the African area, we have honestly just not a very good habitat at all for these lions, and it basically just comes down to a size thing. This is the whole thing for 2 lions. Very, very unfortunate. Now, I will say, like, the habitat is nicely decorated. There's lots of climbing and enrichment type things, and it did seem like, despite the size limitations and the limitations of the zoo in general, it did seem like they were doing their best for these animals. But I will say, for the lions and for the tigers, tiger, as you'll see later on, they should probably just be relocated. Not that that's easy to do, easier said than done, but yeah, I understand, but also it's bad. The next habitat in the African area is for plain zebras mixed with helmeted guinea fowl. I have been known to complain about the amount of African animals in the game in the past, but I'm mostly just talking about African mammals, not including monkeys, because if it's African monkeys or African birds, or I guess even African reptiles, I'll take a Nile crocodile. Just anything that isn't more African hoofstock, I'll take it in game, please. Even though we're probably getting near the end of Planet Zoo support, so it's probably not going to happen, but maybe. I'll keep my hopes up. And then right across from the zebras, there were these massive aviaries with tons and tons of different bird species, African bird species. Everything was nicely themed. There were these nice giant termite mounds. They were actually mixed with rock hyraxes, which was cool. You know, throw some little mammals in there. And of course, none of them were on display. Everything was off display because it was still cold, unfortunately. Moving along, there's this little photo op for white soccer moms. You gotta give those white soccer moms their photo ops. And I only bring that up because that's literally what happened later on. I saw. Of course, the moms had to take pictures of their kids with the little statue of a lion. But anyway, these next 2 habitats, we have some fennec foxes. And these guys are always very adorable to see. You know, it was nice to see these guys moving around and not just sleeping, even though it looks like that's kind of what these guys are thinking about doing right now. And then right next door we have a lovely little habitat for a serval. Again, it's maybe a little small, but there's lots of climbing. There's a little water feature in there. They didn't have to do that for the serval, but they did. You know, that's nice. And you can just barely see it in the background licking itself, I guess. I don't know. I could never really get a good look at this thing. One critique I will throw at this zoo is that the layout is not very well thought out, which doesn't necessarily matter because everything is very small, so you don't have to do a lot of backtracking or anything. But like these couple of little aviaries that were part of the African area, these are African animals, but these were just like super disconnected from the rest of the African animals, and it wasn't very well thought out. But it's like, whatever, it's a small zoo, and I'm being very nitpicky because I am way too into zoo design at this point for no reason, because it's probably something I'll never do myself outside of Planet Zoo. But hey, it is what it is. And with that, I'm gonna put an end to the first part of this zoo tour. I'm gonna break this up into smaller parts so that I have more content to spread over a longer period of time, so that maybe the algorithm doesn't get as mad at me, and also because people have short attention spans. So, I'm trying to keep these around 10 minutes. But yeah, if you enjoyed that, leave a like, subscribe, comment, or do whatever you want. I don't know. And maybe I'll see you next time if you stick around. So bye for now.